Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Traffic Light Reviews. My name is Steven Munoz. Unfortunately, my brother isn't with me right now because he was in a minor automobile accident. He made a full recovery. He's doing just fine, but unfortunately he's not able to be here for the shoot, so we're going to take the show forward. Now, one of the topics that we wanted to discuss was movies that are so bad that probably every single person in the entire universe would say is a bad movie, but we don't care. Okay? Everybody has their own personal bias. We all understand that, you're going to like a movie no matter what, and so do we. And this movie, at least for me, in my childhood, it came up all the time on television, especially too over the weekends for some reason. I feel like I don't know what contract they had with Barry Gordy to only play this movie only on the weekends all the time on the WB back then. But the movie I'm talking about is Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon. If you know anything about Barry Gordy, Motown Records, he knows music. He doesn't know movies. This was at that time in the 80s. It was a push for every single person to make a movie with a great soundtrack. And funny enough, this movie does have a pretty awesome soundtrack for the time. But I'm talking about music. Okay, this is a movie. The funny part is that it was trying to highlight something that was immensely popular, was starting to die out with Bruce Lee and all of Bruce Lee's movies being done. Martial arts was a big thing that came about in the 70s and just unfortunately was phasing out. So Barry Gordy wanted to combine music and martial arts with this movie called The Last Dragon, in which it follows the tale of a young man from Harlem whose name just so happens to be Bruce Leroy, and his quest to reach the final level. Okay? He has a master that teaches him about reaching the final level, and that once you become a final level, you will be a master yourself, and you would even achieve the glow. Now, all of these things probably sound ridiculous, but these were common practices in martial arts movies where, the young student would follow the master and listen to everything they say. Now, the only cool part about this movie was that they decided to take it and turn it into New York flair as they set this in the middle of Harlem. So it's like taking an old school kung fu movie and trying to drop it right in the middle of the hood. It's genius. It's brilliant. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense half the time. It very much is dated. I understand why people say this movie is bad, but there is a cult following behind this movie that would tell you to kiss their Converse, okay? Because everybody knows who's the baddest, everybody knows who's the meanest, everybody knows who Sho'nuff is, okay? Unfortunately, that gentleman who played Sho'nuff in the movie, the villain, he has passed. He was a big stuntman back in the day, and he was a professional black belt martial artist. The villain in this movie, when you see him fight the hero, their kicks and punches, they're pretty crisp. It's not like they're doing all the greatest stunts, but yeah, they didn't have to do that many takes, because they were professionals. Now, this man Bruce Leroy, the character. He in real life, I forget what his name is, but he still goes by his singular name. He only went by one name in the credits, Timac, and Timac has forever been attached to this movie. I don't think he did that much else after this movie, but he was a martial artist himself as well. A lot of these movies in the 80s, when they casted, what are they looking for, actor or martial artist? So they decided to choose the martial artist first, and then hope they can get good acting chops out of him. Now, that wasn't always the case with all of these movies back then, and this one falling short because of it. But there is something about in the middle of a kung fu movie that you could just cut to a straight music video. Like in this movie, there are so many scenes that just go back and forth that you don't know if you're watching a music video or if you're watching a kung fu movie. Because with Barry Gordy's Motown, he wanted to produce as many songs as possible for this movie. One main highlight out of nowhere in the middle, the character of Bruce Leroy, his love interest. Well, the lady's name in real life is Vanity. She was a singer for Prince. She was a protege, but in the movie, her name is Laura Charles, and she has this show called Seventh Heaven that is in the vein of like TRL. For those of you that can remember, that, like when there was a VJ, a video jockey that would introduce the video and then play it for you guys, and you would watch it on TV. So the Laura Charles character, she introduces a music video from DeBarge, and DeBarge was a big deal at this time. And the funny part was, it's as if the entire movie just stops and says, let's have this 4-minute music video scene for this video that no one's seen yet. They premiered it only for the movie. And, it was a straight up DeBarge video, just in the middle of everything. Hey, it's a good song. It's a catchy song. There's nothing wrong with music. It's a little weird sometimes. It's a little out of place when, in the middle of a movie where, you're talking about a guy trying to reach the upper level of Tame the Glow and trying to become a kung fu martial arts master of Harlem. That, you just have these random music videos cut throughout. And, they try to put like two villains. The show Nuff is this tall, immensely huge, heavily permed, just like his hair, his outfit is everything that's wrong with the 80s, and that's why you love it. And he has this little crew of people with him. They're his students, pretty much bullies, whose hobbies include breaking down Joe's pizza shop. Daddy Green's pizza shop, and fighting guys in the movie theater while Enter the Dragon is playing in the background. So when it comes to, he's the main villain that's going to fight Bruce Leroy, but now with Laura Charles, the love interest, they now weasel in an executive, a little squirrely, scraggly looking guy, so unforgettable I can't even remember his name, because he's just there to sort of help facilitate, how things will happen, and how things will move forward. Just an annoying talking piece, and he has all these cheeseball lines that it's one of those things where, by the end of the movie, you know what you're looking for, because they're playing up Bruce Leroy to be this guy that he's never been with a girl. His younger brother is giving him relationship advice throughout the movie, which is hilarious. He's probably in his mid-20s. They never really say people's ages in this movie, but he's probably supposed to be around his mid-20s, and he meets Laura Charles by chance. He just happens to save her in the middle of the street that she's about to get abducted, and that's how their roads collide, and everything else ensues from there. And by the end of the movie, of course, Bruce Leroy has his own school of students, and so they come to his aid in the final battle. By the end of it, when they talk it up so much, when they talk up about how do you know if you're a master? Because the whole movie, the villain is saying that he's the master. Who's the master? Show enough, right? So now Bruce Leroy has to prove this. He has to prove that he becomes the master. And in order to do that, he has to achieve the glow. All right? And they even make a joke earlier in the movie that Bruce Leroy could catch bullets with his teeth. All right? And by the end of the movie, Bruce Leroy does obtain the glow, and his entire body in horrible 1980s CGI, it maintains a orange glow for about 2-3 minutes as he defeats Shonuff, because, well, we got the glow, that's one. Now we need to catch a bullet with his teeth. So the other guy comes with a gun, shoots him, and lo and behold, he catches a bullet with his teeth. Okay? This movie delivers on all of its cheese and corn. It lets you know exactly what it is, and it doesn't apologize for it. I respect that. I respect something that knows what it wants to be and sticks to it. The cooler part is that with the New York vibe that it gives throughout the movie, it does feel, in a sense, like a very interesting take on a kung fu movie. In putting it in the middle of Harlem, in having a fight in the middle of a movie theater in Harlem with so many different types of people that join in on this fight in towards the beginning of the movie. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty. I don't want to say that it was ahead of its time. It will never be considered cinema masterpiece, but it definitely will be considered one of those where it was representing something that wasn't. A lot of movies back then, if you're talking about kung fu, if you're talking about martial arts, they didn't portray black characters doing martial arts. They didn't portray them in the forefront. I think all you had was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar fighting Bruce Lee. That was pretty much the best you were going to get. I was drawn to this movie because it showed me something different. It showcased something that I loved as a kid. I loved kung fu movies. I loved martial arts. And I saw people of color doing it. And nobody else. There wasn't Chinese, white, nothing. It was two African American gentlemen that were, displaying incredible, tremendous talent. And so that's why I always was interested in it. I would always rewatch it again and again because unfortunately at that time there was nothing like it. There really was. Now, albeit in the realm of the entire movie, there's nothing like it with all the music and such. And so it is something I do believe that warrants a watch from just to see it once so you can understand what it meant at the time and how relevant it was for the time. It may not be relevant now because kung fu and martial arts have kind of died in cinema. There needs to be some sort of revitalization, I feel. But when it comes to the representation that's lacking, I do feel like this is one of those movies that does help push that a little bit more and highlight that in not that bad of a way. So if you hate it, I get it. If you love it, I'm right there with you. But yes, I am going to give this movie a biased green light. Check out The Last Dragon. No, check out Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon. That's technically the full title. They did release it on Netflix recently. You can catch it there, The Last Dragon. It's worth the watch, even if you just watch it once. And we will catch you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And hey, let me know what you thought. Let me know if Show Enough's the master. All right. And let me know if I just got to go kiss your Converse. All right. Take care. We'll see you in the next video.